Hello, Maxine. How are you today and where are you dialing from?
And it's good morning. I am wonderful. And greetings from Washington, D.C.
All right, it's morning for you, 10 a.m. I almost forgot about this. Great. Is it hot over there or like raining, just like in Poland?
Extremely hot. Today is
Uh,
promised, it has been promised that today will be 94 degrees. Fahrenheit. It is hot.
wow.
It is hot.
Oh, I
Yeah.
sympathize.
What's
Well,
interesting is that tomorrow I leave for California, where
oh,
the
oh,
temperature is
jealous.
very different. Yes,
I
it's
love California. I've only been there once in my
Mhm.
life. I loved it, so I'm definitely trying to come back there. Well, thank you so much for
Absolutely.
taking your time and joining my hot seat session where we help companies or businesses all over the world address their blind spots and gain competitive edge while fostering a sense of community with the help of our mentors. So, first of all, I'd like to learn about you and your expertise so you can introduce yourself.
You. Thank you, Kate. And it's wonderful to be here. Gleek is very special to me. So that, yes, I made the time. So let's start. I am Maxine Barnett. I am an executive and career coach. I am also the founder of Soft Skills Services LLC. And at Soft Skills Services, we help leaders to hone and leverage their soft skills. And we say the soft or power skills to achieve their leadership goals. So that, and when I say leaders, I like to define it as leaders in the C-suite, leaders, team leaders, business leaders, entrepreneurs, all leaders, we help them to hone and leverage their soft skills for business success.
This is
Yeah.
great. And what inspired you to become an executive and career coach, as I can call it?
Yes, that's an interesting journey because I came out of corporate. I was a corporate executive, specifically an HR and organizational development executive for many years, over 20 years. And it's as an executive, I observe that very proficient, very competent professionals, as they climb the corporate ladder, they lack the soft skills to help them and that ability to interact with others, which is what you need. And as a matter of fact, those soft skills are needed even more as you climb the corporate ladder. And that is what inspired me. So I started right where I was. I equipped myself and started, training the people where I was. I became a corporate trainer. I certified as a trainer and made sure that people wherever I was, that they were equipped to climb the corporate ladder. Because they do sabotage themselves when they don't know how to communicate, how to listen, just to name a few.
I actually have to agree about this. Sometimes it feels, when we reach a certain point in our career, it feels like we're the best and we know everything, but we forget that life is like a lifelong journey. You have to learn throughout your whole life, hone your skills, as you call it. So, absolutely, it's so necessary, and I agree with you. What is some interesting or maybe even unique challenge that you've helped a business or a client overcome when it comes to their career transition?
Yeah, it's interesting, and my focus, as you said, there is on leaders as they transition. And you can transition in many different ways. You can transition upwards in terms of promotion. You can transition out. You can transition onboarding, and various challenges present leaders as they meet these different points of transition. But let me give you an example, a unique example of she was fairly senior. She was not a middle manager, and she certainly wasn't junior. So she came to me because I deal with individuals and organizations. She came to me outside of her organization. She came to me and said, I'd like to prepare myself for upward mobility. And I believe you can help me. Yeah, so that was a first. I had never had someone come to me like that. So we started working. She had her eye on one of their international, the same organization, but their international location. So we started working on cultural competencies. We started working on various things. And then in the middle of it, the organization began a restructuring. She was not aware of that. And listen carefully as we talk about the organization began restructuring, but didn't communicate properly to their people. So she found herself in the midst of the restructuring, she found herself no longer that senior managerial position she had. And she felt she was in no man's land and felt that she was being kicked out. So she came to me, upset. I was in San Francisco at the time. She called me, she said, I'm leaving, and I just want you to know that I'm leaving. She just called to tell me I'm leaving. I said, hold on. And when she shared with me what was happening, I said, go straight to the HR manager, the HR executive, and ask. I gave her the questions to ask. Ask some questions so you understand what is happening. Now, some people don't think that they can do that. Ask the questions. So ask the questions. What was happening is that they had started noticing her. We are going through our things, and she didn't even know they had started noticing that, and they had started prepared. They had plans for her on a track, a leadership track, and didn't communicate that to her. You see? So two things had to happen now. Now that she understood that, I then had to encourage to start coaching her now with the leadership skills that she will need for that track that she was on. Long story short, she's now heading up one of their regional operations. She would have walked away from an opportunity that is amazing. Yes.
Wow.
So what it presented there was the communication skills of the leaders at the top, but also her communication skills. She did not know that she could have gone and asked and so on. So that is one of my prize, my
So
prize cookies.
it feels like, every time I talk to mentors, it all comes down to communication.
Oh
Sometimes we
yes.
think that we can communicate, but it's actually such a huge issue and we just can't. What are some other mistakes that you witness, leaders make when they try to, transition when it comes to their career?
So
Anywhere, upwards, other
for the
position,
cross
anything you
out
can say.
also. Well, one of the big mistakes that I see leaders, and I can give it from angles, the leader that is bringing in a new leader, a senior leader that's bringing in, or the leader that's going in himself or herself. One of the biggest mistakes is made at onboarding. Not enough attention is paid to onboarding someone into a new position, whether the person is joining the organization or whether the person is moving into a new role. It is felt that, onboarding, we don't have too much time for that. We want you to jump in and start
But
functioning.
it's foundation.
It is the time that is spent in onboarding, it is really, really, the rewards are down the road. Because the time that's spent in onboarding is helping the person to learn, helping the person to build relationships, helping the person to listen, as opposed to jump in and thinking, okay, I'm bringing all my skills and all my expertise and I can jump in and fix you or fix them. The onboarding is critical, and onboarding can take different forms. Time spent with the leader, the reporting leader, time spent with others, buddies, creating buddies so that the persons can start building and networking internally, because we think of networking externally, we don't think of networking internally. And networking is indeed a soft skill. so that's the thing. So that mistake is made at both levels. The person who is receiving the new person, or the person that's going in, that excited person going in and jumping in and not listening. So that's another mistake, not listening to what the environment needs and what the environment wants, as opposed to what I think it needs. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's not even like about the career. It's even about the business itself. You don't have to just
Absolutely.
listen to yourself. You have to listen what your customers want.
Listening to
And the
the
same with career, what your company needs, you
so
got to bring to the table. And that's why
you
you
have to
need to
listen
listen. So it's onboarding, listening and
and
communication, and
communication.
what else?
No, I'm agreeing with you. And communication. I was listening to a podcast with a very successful leader. He was in the Marines first, and then after he served his time, he went into corporate, very senior levels. He's on boards and so now. And when he was asked, what will he tell his younger self now, if he has to tell his younger self or coach his younger self? And his answer was just listen more. All he said was listen more. And that's the mistake that most of us make. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I always say sometimes we hear, but we don't really
Oh,
listen.
absolutely. And there's a difference. There is a difference. There is a difference in hearing and
This is
listening.
critical. And
Yes.
so, well, now let's turn to the positive side. You, as a proud Gleek mentor, what strategies or maybe what steps can you advise leaders to take, to avoid making these mistakes?
Sure. And I would say about three things. One is recruit for both hard and soft skills. A lot of times we focus on the technical and what's the technical skill the person is bringing to the table, but the soft skills are even more critical. And even in this AI world that we are now in, or the VUCA world, those buzzwords, the empathy and active listening are still top of the list of skills for which we should recruit. And if, for example, we have our people in already and they don't have those skills, spend time and invest and develop those skills in our people. Spend time developing those skills. The other thing I'll talk about is team building. Take time to build a team. And I like to say that team building is not an event, it's not a program. Team building is a process. So you take time. I have had a client that I've been with them for the last year, building building their teams because, and one of the things that some people miss is that every time someone new comes in to the fold, the team becomes a new team again. So take time to go back through the stages, that beginning stage of forming, and make sure that person become a member of the team. So team building is a process, not an event. And the last thing I'd like to leave is that everyone needs a coach. This concept that, oh, if something is wrong with that person, so that person needs a coach. No, we all need a coach. We all need an accountability partner, a thinking partner, a cheerleader, someone to hold the mirror up, to so that we can see, because sometimes we do have blind spots. So everyone needs a coach.
I agree. Actually, I have one more question that I didn't originally plan, but it kind of,
Yeah.
just popped up in my head.
So,
We're talking about, how to help mentors when they're like in the process of transition. But let's imagine that, somebody is already in a leadership role, they change the position, but they realize that they're lacking something. How can they overcome, this fear of, I'm not capable to do this. I have to immediately learn new skills, and how am I
mhm.
able to keep up with my new role and actually trying to get skills to be good at this role? Maybe you have a piece of advice, because
So
I feel like a lot of people encounter this, leaders.
absolutely. And well, part of when I hear the person is in the role and is aware, and I use the word aware because self-awareness is critical. That's half of the job done. Once you are aware, if you're not aware, then you can fall into situations that you shouldn't fall into. But once you are aware, that's part of the half the job done. And then you reach out. You can reach out mentors, you can reach out to coaches, you can reach out to someone, because sometimes it's I who have to take responsibility for my own personal development. So the organization may not be offering it at the time, but I take time to get out there and find out where I can learn those skills. So personal responsibility.
First
Yes.
responsibility. I loved it. That was actually such a short and wholesome session,
Mhm.
because I've never discussed a topic like this. As I said, we feel like when we reach a certain level, we've done enough and we don't need to learn more. But the key is we still need to learn, and we still need somebody to help us learn. I
Absolutely.
absolutely love it. Thank you so
Let me
much
just
for
share just this last
sure.
line to close it on because of what you just said. I would just like to leave this with everyone. We all need a perspective on our perspective. We all need a perspective on our perspective. And
I
once we
love this
recognize that,
quote.
then we can continue to grow. We continue to grow. Yes.
Thank you so much for spending this Thursday with me and sharing your knowledge and insight. I've absolutely enjoyed this conversation. And if our audience also enjoyed this conversation, I highly encourage you to check our caption and learn how you can work with Maxine one-on-one, because it's absolutely worth it. I absolutely love it. So thank you for being part of our community and being a fan of Gleek. And I can't wait to see you again on one of our events, or just, being a great mentor that you are.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Have a great day, Maxine.
You
Bye.
too.
And have
Bye.
fun in California.
I will. I'm going to meet family. Okay. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.